don't need to say much more. His work will speak for itself. Danny Baker.
Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks for Beyond Baroque and everybody for making this happen. I'm really excited to be here. This one's called Note to Self. Children leave the room. Deeper and deeper, breathless, laughing or weeping, fuming at insensitivity. Who gives a fuck? Punch him in the side of the head. Don't ask if it's good enough. It never is. So shut the fuck up. Excavate. Open oily ink veins. Slide through the bowels of the wrong side of track-marked streets. Walk them into the gutter of the bondage section of your porn shop mind and crap on the floor of societal expectation. Blow a wad on tradition. Make them gasp and sigh and pray for you and your lost soul. Then piss on all they hold holy. Kick yourself in the nuts. Bleed like Darby. If you can't make them cry your tears, make them laugh your nonsense.
Good start.
There's a drummer in the room, at least one that I know of, so I thought I'd go on with this one. It's called Playing Like Copeland When Moon is Called For. In search of word, a dog easy. In search of word, a dog chasing its tail, God sweeping their fails. Nearing collapse, exhaustion takes a drug test, finds it's not pure, though inconclusive results reveal high-grade fatigue coursing weathered vessels. Channels blocked, fingers take vacation, land in arthritic keystrokes. Cracking up ain't all it's cracked up to be. Rubber walls call my name, I don't respond. Not that it would be an inconvenience, but for the inability to conceive adequate retort capable of surviving the full term. Visceral necessity meets temporal incapacity, resulting in a duel of no winner. Both seem to be losing once prodigious aim. Pondering all under the stars, towering redwood to rippling ocean blue, superglue keeps tongue from cat. Unarticulated calculations cripple. Perhaps tongue-grabbing cats are less culpable than synapses frozen in isolation. Phrasing lost and violent wind weighs heavy. Sugar-coated iron plates placed uneven on opposing barbell sleeves. Mass rests on a fulcrum directly above heart soon to rupture. Vanish forever in deterioration, second derivative of depletion gone parabolic. A nasty case of vertigo shows up. Manifest destiny soon meets a flame suffocating. Excuse me. Wick approaches wax. Mute bands of speechless agony dare to try escape pre-dimensional prison. Synaptic breaks repel the attempt. She ain't talking, except in archaic dialect unintelligible but for redundant theme. Word drifts across stunted cerebral mass unnoticed but for blank space unintended as such, leaving empty graves, dusty rugs not well beaten, so in need of beating. Thank you. This is called Mining a Blood Vein. A doppelganger got lost searching out his twin. Binary brilliance shines obsidian ink atop blank page. Lightning strikes cast a pall over heart, soul, and mind alike. Marathon run at the pace of sprint leads runner to premature reaper grasp. Raging gut fire come burnt ember envelops existence, pulling last fish from exhausted stream. Hanging on structure of crumbling drywall with worn nails, a cavernous mind replete with vein undiscoverable beneath blood pools. Swimmer and spelunker alike drown in illegible red ink. No sound to be heard but a muted Jesus loves you and will provide. A quick turn towards the light and the light is gone. Remaining is abyss in a clown suit resembling a lost doppelganger. Before. Trying to write hopeful, listening to Leonard Cohen is akin to watching a road through rear-view reflection. Notwithstanding such visceral truth in minor key embrace is a familiar echo of great discomfort, yet turning a deaf ear is out of the question, despite it being the only question of ample substance. Attempting to mine peace in shadow and echo seems lacking intellectual integrity. However, nothing argues with unknown and dies bloody in its boots. Hence, mind-eye trains to the quantified rear, unafraid of footprint printed, concern focused on track still to be left. I suppose that, not yet recognized, was once upon a time a carpeted field of rolling Kentucky bluegrass dreamscape. Once upon a time, ages yore, before hope became a four-letter word to conflicted soul, when kites flew beyond sight, before George Harrison's guitar gently wept on my soaking feet, before George Jones put the bottle on the table for just one more and then another, before I met the devil at the crossroads, selling myself into purgatory whose ends are known only to the fates, I've yet to meet one I trust. Before Manson started making sense, somehow seeming more sane than preconditioned, preconceived notions, armed with finely sharpened sides, facing off daily were I to grant them access via eyes lost in hills no longer green, scanning the distance for fresh pasture while casting firebombs into every foxhole, refusing to ever again get jumped by the future.
Nice. Yeah. Knock him dead, Danny. Come on, buddy. Yeah, come on. Let us have it.
This one's called the Great Anarchic Train Robbery. It's a bitch and a half. We'll try, here we go. Nowhere to go but deeper in ancient fantasy, stomping wild through the streets with no sanctuary, only a step back into a biddling jaw of death incarnate, as the world explores revolt as if it were first to land on subversive shores despite word found in dusty tomes rarely opened, and sections of the library declared off limits by the masses of salvation. Lessons not limited to binary era are no longer relevant apparently, and as human nature hasn't changed since the start, that which tackles issues such as Holland tulip bulb bubbles, empirical sagacious warning 100 years before a lone fiddler fiddled in glow of death of a city burning under the weight of its collective immorality, and shuffled deck chairs on a ship doomed by fallacy and inattention to knowledge, stand one and all unwelcome in mono-rhetorical voice and progressive mutiny. Facts uncovered from careful concealment only serve to capsize ships already listing, discover land already discovered but obfuscated in convenient desert storms, of popular acrimony misplaced and palpably ineffectual in achieving goal as stated. For as stated, they violate principles of existence existing long before MTV rock votes to the left, before churches hymn to the right, prior to the digital attention span. Nowhere to go but deeper in ancient fantasy, sleeping tranquil over rambunctious streets despite circumstances less than ideal for a lone young traveler, traipsing boulevards of past glory upon which he likely did not belong but for heaving convulsions, speaking volumes of alternative housing arrangements more repugnant than grime-slime stairwells of malodorous air. Elitists who would beg to differ erase etchings on walls, silencing echoes that don't serve its intent, whatever intent may be. At that moment in time when pendulum overshoots its arc, sending ants into a furious search for scapegoats to encumber, though finding vertigo when forced to look through clear lens into the dark mirror that always stares back, sending shockwaves of revulsion through the sentient, while leaving the unfortunate dim, numb out of some misguided recompense for ill-conceived plan to level a playing field that hasn't been level since creation, as that's just the way the genes fly. And the truth is, the numb are happier than those of superlative cognition anyway. Introspectives left melancholy, watching and saddened, bemusing at the death of liberty, at the very hands of those who would so protest, as they vote for more regulation to ironically render themselves more free. Nowhere to go but deeper in ancient fantasy, retreating to the warmth of word on a rooftop above the fray as ants scurry below, and 25 seems like a proper age to shoot for if lucky, and anything more just a pipe dream resembling something closer to a nightmare on loop. As the pendulum has overswung its arc, as we've overspent our means, work ethic no longer implies effort. Carefully chosen history is selectively buried by whomever selected. Cicero rolls in his unheralded grave while Nero takes on Charlie Daniels, and Rome goes unrepeated under watchful eyes of a ship captain, capable of winning a staring contest with an alabaster disaster looming for passengers taking in what they want, when they want it, ultimately paying the ultimate price for their avarice, sloth, and trust in humanity, always suspect, for fear and greed rule all. However, that's been redacted too. Rats are jumping ships, stealing all lifeboats as the ants imbibe, on a buffet of ass served up with $40 billion of arrogance, rolling up on a jet escorted by copious security just in time for the anointment of an oracle perfectly manicured with a filthy agenda. Nowhere to go but deeper in ancient fantasy, digging up letters that make words, that make sentences, that make paragraphs, seeking truth through the fiction brought to you by your government and its cronies, all of whom are here to help you, are here for no other reason than to provide help. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. Right. Yeah,
Okay, make this the last one. It's called On the Tip of the Tongue Yet Inarticulable, and I guess that's pretty much the last one, but this one should be perhaps a little easier. My tongue's tied with some advanced sailing knot out of which I'm unable to slither. Sliding in and out, under and over, have been core to my survival ever since ever. Devoid of alternative means of remediation, it's all I can do but reach for cold steel forever found in my right pocket. Kept opposite open veins spilling black, no heat to stain left for all to see. A blade has gone dull as its possessor. Modern Kevlar doesn't readily oblige to even hone blade of laceration anyway. Perhaps I need find peace with the rope, a substitute form of communication when voice goes silent and signing seems a bit optimistic given bound hands. Searching the depths of all I've ever known, I once again find a means by which to slice myself free for the moment. My shadow will soon again catch me off guard. It's harder and harder cutting free of the sails as winds turn acrid, water black, and current drags me old before my time. Guess I should have paid more attention in Cub Scouts. Perhaps Cub Scouts should have paid more attention to me. Semantics notwithstanding, I can't untie a knot to save my fucking life. Yet somehow fashioning a noose around my own neck presents little, if any, difficulty whatsoever. Thank you.
Is this cherry probably pop now? All right, next poet, Annette Cruz. I've kind of known as long